If you think that's a picture of Jerry Lee Lewis, you are correct. And that microphone in front of him is the Electro-Voice 630. And that's what this video is all about. This microphone was first manufactured in the 1940s. It's no longer available as a new item, but you can find them on the used market. When the microphone is new or in good condition, it looks like this, and it's a beautiful piece of work. But most of the ones you'll see are not new, and the one I'll be working with is certainly not new. And here you can see what I mean. It has rust, corrosion, scratches, dents. Pretty old, pretty messed up, and I don't even know how it sounds. Let's find out. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. This is the Electro-Voice 630 microphone. Terrific, it really works. But now we have to take out all its innards, its electronic parts, so we can clean it up without damaging anything. Oh boy, here we are with all the parts separated and laid out on a table. This is the top. And this is the cartridge or the voice coil of that microphone. Goes right up in there, and that part holds it in. This is the transformer. This is the rubber tube. I'm not sure how it works, but it allegedly makes the music sound better or makes the voice sound better, but I can't hear any difference whether it's used or not. This is the base of the microphone. That's where the transformer goes. Then way down here we have the pivoting part, or the stand. This is a spring washer, and that adds tension to the pivot point so that the microphone will stay in place when you tilt it. This is a barrel screw, or a scrapbook screw, if you will, and these two parts screw together inside the base and let the microphone pivot, and they hold everything together. This is the switch, the on-off switch that goes into this slot, and this is an Amphenol plug or jack or connector. In any event, I'll replace this with the more common XLR microphone connector. This particular microphone uses a tiny little set screw to hold that plug in place. There it is. It's easy to lose. Be careful. But in any event, this one wouldn't come out, and I had to destroy it to get it out so that I could replace it. Now all of this, well, the brown parts of plastic are part of that Amphenol plug, but the rest of this is a material used to make the wires stay in place inside the case. It's a rubbery substance, or maybe an epoxy-like substance. I don't know, but it's a real pain. And you can see some of it around that hole. I had to almost scrape it out or chisel it out to free the wires. The wires come through that hole into a tiny hole here and down through this pivoting piece. There's where the switch goes, and then right there is where the new XLR plug will be. Okay. I forgot about this. We need to know what it is, and it is a long screw that holds the microphone together. It goes right through the back of this, through the microphone, and screws into this part, and this part ends up going into the face or head, and it supports the voice coil. So now we've taken the Electro-Voice microphone apart, removed all the electronics, and we're ready to do what we started to do, and that is make it look, well, not like new, but closer to new than it is now. All of these electronics will go back in with new wires. So that's our next step. And this part is now ready for the sandblaster. First, we put it in the sandblaster. Placed carefully at the back so that we can access it, lock it, turn on the vacuum, turn on the lights, put my hands in the rubber gloves, and start blasting away. And in just a few minutes, it looks like this. Now it's time to make everything look pretty. I use powder coating, and that's the powder coat gun on the right. It sprays the powder. Just to the left, you can see my spray booth. It's important that the spray booth contain all the powder, so it's nice if it's airtight so that the powder doesn't disperse all through my shop. Up above it is a yard cell air compressor that will, on a good day, generate 10 psi, but that's enough. Here are the electronics that generate a lot of volts so that the powder will stick to the microphone. And this is my baking oven. It's a toaster oven that I found on the side of the road, and it works just fine. This is a fire brick that lets me put hot objects right there and keep them from burning down my shop. And on top of that is a piece of the microphone that is coated and ready for baking. Okay, we now have the various parts of the microphone cleaned and powder coated. This is the one you were looking at just a moment ago as it was getting ready to be put into the oven to be baked. Here's the finished object right here. You may notice that I have now inserted the transformer. It seems that I lost the other transformer, the original, and I've added this one. You'll also notice this green wire. Red and black are for the microphone. The green wire is a ground wire, and it sometimes makes a big difference in reducing the hum in the microphone. All these cables, all three, will work their way through this base of the microphone. There's where the switch goes, and right there is where the XLR plug will be. Now we have the three parts fully assembled, almost. Here's the top and the middle. The transformer is already inside of this and locks down. There's a pivot point for the base. The wires come all the way through. They're not binding or twisted. So everything's looking pretty good so far. We do have to adjust the tension point though, the pivot point. The original microphones use a spring washer, concave or convex, depending on how you look at it. And this washer does a really good job, but it's very difficult to reinsert it into the microphone once you've removed it. So I've resorted to using these shim washers. The hole is much bigger in the shim washers, but it doesn't matter. They fit just fine, and you have a wide selection to use to make the tension just right. What I did was buy a selection of shim washers like these, and I also got a selection of barrel screws because sometimes the originals get damaged when you're working on the microphone. And when properly installed, the microphone head will pivot easily and stay in place. Here's the switch I'm testing. That irritating sound means that a good connection is being made through the switch. If I turn the switch off, it should stop. And of course, if I switch it back on, it should start again. Seems like everything is working just right. And before I install it, all these old twisted wires will be replaced with new ones. Well, the switch works fine and it is installed, and now I'm installing the faceplate. When that's done, we will take a look at how to install the XLR connector. Okay, now that the switch has been installed, we turn our attention to the XLR fittings. The three wires coming out will connect to an XLR cable. In the past, I've had a lot of trouble trying to fit an XLR plug or fitting into that opening. It just doesn't work very well. The sizes are different from what was in there in the first place. So I've tried several things, but now I believe I've come up with something that works pretty well. Here's what it looks like. This is an XLR male cable cut at the end so that the conductors can be connected, and it has an aluminum knurled knob with an offset or a recess for clearance, and the wires can be connected to the XLR cable, and that piece will screw onto the microphone. Now all the connectors are soldered together correctly, and I will screw the knurled knob onto the microphone, and then this microphone will be ready to perform, I hope. Well, here it is, the finished product, with an XLR connector and a short cable. We also have a knurled connector knob. Has a slight relief in it so that we can later attach it to a microphone stand. Right there. Well, it has a nice new black powder coat finish, but it still shows a lot of the dents and scratches that could not be removed. But it looks better than it did, and best of all, after all the things I did, it still works. Well, there you have it, the Electro-Voice 630 microphone. It would have set you back about $27 in the 1940s, and today a decent used one would be about 3 to 4 times that much. It's a pretty good microphone. And by the way, the entire narration for this movie was recorded on an Electro-Voice 630 microphone. I hope you enjoyed it.